Chapter 1, Dreams of Paul, page 13. Note, Williams says, "Dream of me. I will tell you more." Page 28. When engaging this book, many readers have mystical experiences and/or feel awakened to new levels of consciousness. Not just about Paul, but about everything. As they shift, some readers report dreaming of Paul, William, or both. If you have such an awakening or dream, please write about it on the back pages. It personalizes your path and adds to the fun. By turning up the energy within you, whenever this mystery tour gets too intense, give it rest for a bit. If you pause now to see, handle, and feel the book's back pages, you are more likely to remember to use them later. Go ahead, touch them now, and see. Spoiler alert. Reading more footnotes spoils the book. The footnotes are a built-in sequel. Saving them until later prepares you for a greater impact. We recommend not reading any more footnotes until you have read all 66 chapters at least once or twice. The notes are for those who know the whole book. For example, the next footnotes referenced Paulism makes more sense after reading Paulism, chapter 61. Stopping to read these notes for your first time through interrupts the flow. Please stop doing that. Page 14. Note: capitalizing on the popularity of the Abbey Road album and of the newly famed crosswalk in front of the EMI building, EMI eventually renamed its studios. The studios were named after the Abbey Road album, not the other way around. The album was named for the street the Beatles crossed over, death pun, on a crosswalk, Christian pun, to leave those studios. Williams's layout showed the band depart the studio, not approach it. They were not about to record. The group was done. The Beatles have left the building. The recording sessions for Abbey Road were the last in which all four Beatles participated. Although Let It Be was the group's final album before the April 1970 dissolution, most of the album had been recorded before the Abbey Road sessions began. While the main intent of the Abbey Road photograph was to point to Paul's death, one of its parallel meanings was the death of the band that would soon be done working together at EMI recording studios. They were walking out, crossing the bridge to independence. While some see the name Abbey Road as a road or as a way to an abbey, the street can also be driven the other way. Although the album title may sound like a road to where Christian monks or nuns live, the band leads the way via Paulism to the anti-monastery abbey of Thelema. Page 16. Note: the Beatles were a well-planned psychological operation, PSYOP, to evoke specific emotions, attitudes, and behaviors to help establish a united belief system. That societal conditioning prepared for the New World Order. As strategically engineered, the Western world's first impression of the Beatles included subliminal markers for virginal innocence. For example, as Paul sings the third verse of Paperback Writer, John and George in backing vocals sing the title of the French nursery rhyme, Frère Jacques. That addition, added under George Martin's direction, focused the song as if of a youth dreaming of joining the adult world. Their music was meant to suggest something very hopeful and youthful. The Beatles' lyrics, including some of their own creation, included infatuations, heartache, and messages of happiness. Then came Yesterday, with Paul's energy of dire, ominous foreboding, planting subconscious dread for the symbolic Virgin's pending sacrifice, fulfilling his oath in which he said something wrong, consenting to his demise. Page 17. Note: George Martin encouraged Paul's relationship with the Asher family. Jane Asher, Paul's girlfriend, is Richard and Margaret Asher's daughter. For Paul, they set up a special bedroom with a piano. Margaret was one of George Martin's music professors when he studied piano and oboe at the Guildhall School of Music and Drama. Richard, an eminent endocrinologist and hematologist, experimented with hypnotism to cure various medical and psychological conditions. On the 11th of February 1956, The British Medical Journal published Dr. Asher's paper, Respectable Hypnosis, consisting of lectures showcasing his remarkable success with hypnotic experiments. Richard occasionally hypnotized Paul to further Paul's success and to ease his anxiety. Purportedly, George secretly provided Margaret with Yesterday, based on Nat King Cole's cover of Answer Me, My Love, used as an experiment on Paul. Over a series of hypnotic sessions, when Richard and Paul, in a state of high suggestibility, Margaret repeatedly played the song on the piano while Richard instructed Paul to recall it, but not the source when he awakes. Page 21. Note: furthering concealed agendas, the Beatles appeared hostile towards Christianity. Paul's mother, Mary, had been a Christian. However, after her passing, Paul's father, Jim, discouraged church involvement. When the Beatles signed with EMI, they understood that they would renounce their Christian beliefs. They were advised that agnosticism was the most defensible theological position, since neither theism nor atheism could be proven. With the coaching for early interviews, they claimed to be agnostic. However, privately, they were each coached to access their higher power and explore non-Christian spiritual traditions. Gradually, their comments about religion reflected their own contemplation and experience. At one point in John's spiritual journey, he said, "I believe in God, but not as an old man in the sky. I believe that what people call God is something in all of us. I believe that what Jesus and Muhammad and Buddha and all the rest said was right. It's just that the translations have gone wrong." George embraced Hinduism. He said, "Heaven and hell are right now. You make it heaven or you make it hell by your actions." And again, through Hinduism, I feel a better person. I just got happier and happier. I now feel that I am unlimited and I'm more in control. William was brought up with eclectic, esoteric training to use religions and other thought systems to serve his will. As anticipated, singing of being visited by Mother Mary divided Christian fans. Although the biblical virgin allusion was obvious, many accepted the Mary McCartney explanation. Some fans liked the idea of Paul receiving a Marian apparition. Others were bothered by Paul in the song, replacing Jesus as Mother Mary's son. Still, the message to accept what we cannot change felt good. It can remind us of Reinhold Niebuhr's Serenity poem. John opposed the song, saying, "That's not the Beatles, that's a hymn." Page 22. Note: Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds can be understood in three ways. Besides the fortuitous Lucy O'Donnell story, Lucy Sky Diamonds is an LSD reference. More significantly, as another layered meaning, Lucy is short for Lucifer, the light bearer, who is in the sky with stars or diamonds. We picture ourselves in a paradise of tangerine trees, marmalade skies, and towering flowers representing Adam and Eve in their paradise. When hearing this song, consider yourself as if you were Adam or Eve, like partaking of forbidden fruit. Getting high on LSD and THC opens us to Luciferian illumination or awareness to become as the gods. According to the Bavarian Illuminati's Luciferianism, the snake at Eden's forbidden tree represents Lucifer, who gave Father Adam and Mother Eve special gnosis, hidden knowledge that raised their self-awareness. Their awakened consciousness put them on par with the gods, ending their servitude. Lucifer saves them from that slavery to a devil that the Bible calls God or Jehovah. Now, like forbidden fruit that causes mind-expanding liberation, psychedelics are forbidden by authoritarian Christians. When giving Eve the fruit, Lucifer, Enki, Osiris, says, God, Enlil, shows that on the day you eat thereof, your eyes shall be open. You shall be as gods knowing good and evil, Genesis 3:5. When God, Enlil, asked Eve what she had done, she says, the serpent, Enki, beguiled me, and I did eat, 3:13. Nevertheless, the claim that Eve was beguiled or deceived, 1 Timothy 2:14, is contradicted by God validating Lucifer's claim as an accomplished fact. God said, Behold, Man has become as one of us to know good and evil, Genesis 3:22. Finishing that verse and the next from the Luciferian view to further thwart Lucifer's work, God evicts Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden and prevents them from partaking of the fruit of the tree of life, which would have let them live forever. Thus, as taught by Skull and Bones, Yale's Death Brotherhood, once Lucifer, Enki, taught the secrets to make us as the gods, God, Enlil, blocked that liberation and consigned us to death, hence their death logo, according to 322. Page 23. Note: although Anton LaVey praised Walt Disney, Theodore Teddy W. Adorno, 11 September 1903 to 6 August 1969, described Walt Disney as the most dangerous man in America. Adorno was concerned about Disney's power to control the minds of children, impacting them for the rest of their lives. Adorno would prefer to teach consciousness over mindless entertainment laced with subliminal messages. On the other hand, those who can be offended by Disney can be offended by anyone. Why be offended by anything? Offense is overrated. Just be aware. Page 24. Note: those who control the media decide what music is popular. The first annual Monterey International Pop Festival was created by the international elite, as were some rock festivals. The rock of rock and roll refers to sex, masonry, and the papacy. Pop, popular, signifies Pope, who in Peter's seat rules the church built upon the rock, Matthew 16:18. Popes John 23 and Paul 6 felt threatened by John and Paul. However, fighting the Beatles, like ancient Romans fighting Christians, made New Age Paulism stronger. Rock and pop conquered the papacy. Subsequent popes agreed to steer Christianity back to paganism. Rap music, representing ceremonially rapping a Masonic mallet, is meant to trap listeners in their self-destructive thinking patterns by using negative energy to deplete their consciousness. In that weakened state, it is nearly impossible to break addictions. If you doubt it, find anyone who has successfully broken any addiction while regularly listening to rap. The plan is to lower consciousness, creating disorder out of order, until societal degradation produces enough misery for the world to crave the control and safety of the New World Order, presided over by those illuminated enough to bring Ordo ab chao, order out of chaos. To create that chaos, the media manipulates people to lower their energy into fear, hate, and division. By lowering their energy, they lose mental objectivity. Of many tools used to engineer problems intended to incite the masses to demand each planned solution, such as more war or control. In the Who Cares video, Williams's character says, "That's the way it goes. Disorder out of order, order out of disorder. It all gets a bit chaotic sometimes."
But so it goes. Disorder out of order, order out of disorder. It all gets a bit chaotic sometimes, doesn't it? If we focus on the pattern, instead of denying our own, we can sometimes unlock certain things.